Hi, if you're new here, my name is Paula, and I'm trying to do my Create This Book 3 series a little bit interactive. But if you're not new, you know it's been a while since I had an episode out. And the thing is, sometimes I stumble into prompts that are really not inspiring to me, or I just don't have an idea for, especially with the interactive component. So I just put my book in the back shelf and wait for me to be on a different mindset or a little bit more creative. I don't know. I wait for the right moment. And the first prompt we're going to tackle today was exactly one of those prompts. The prompt says to create gold, draw golden objects of all shapes and sizes. Doing the voiceover right now and looking back, I can tell you now, I did not follow that too closely. But anyhow, my first step was to tape out my pages and paint a black background to help the gold pop out more. When I was trying to come up with the ideas, I started to think about gold things and how often they are gifts. You know, like jewelry or trophies. So that got me to think about what golden gift I would like to receive. So my idea is for the spread to be completely black and then have a gift there that's going to open as a flap, and that will be the interactive element for the spread. So as I painted the background, I thought it best to leave a white rectangle to act as the gift. I traced the rectangle and then I drew a ribbon on top, painted around that, and then covered the rest with black. When that was dry, I rewarded myself with a satisfying tape peel. And then I proceeded to paint the bow on the gift with gold acrylic markers. I chose a quote for the opposite side and I wrote it in pencil first and then traced it with the brush acrylic marker. The words I chose are dream big because the gift I'm going to put inside that flap, it's something that right now seems incredibly huge and fantastic. I don't know, I thought those were the perfect words to describe something like that. I finished the present by adding highlights with a lighter gold and outlining it. Then I put a piece of cardstock behind it to cut 3 of the sides so that it would open. So now it's time to put that gift in, so I printed this. I told you it was a huge dream. This is a golden play button YouTube awards creators when they reach 1 million subs. Can you imagine that? What a dream! Right now, I'm still in awe and so much gratitude of the immense community of 30,000 people we've become. 30,000, that's so many people. Right now, I'm feeling hopeful for that silver button, but who knows, maybe one day I feel this one closer too. Of course, I use a little Photoshop to personalize it with my channel's name just to make it a little bit sweeter. And that's our first prompt. Simple, but so meaningful, and I love it. Next page, create similarity. To be honest, I struggle with this one too. And yes, you can see the button just stuck there because I knew I would use an extra piece of paper for this one. So the prompt says create 2 objects, 2 things that are similar but not the same. And I thought a good idea for doing that would be to draw a rotary phone and a cell phone. I mean, they are the same thing, a phone, but are they? Are they? Okay, onto the drawing. I'm having the rotary phone occupy the whole spread. You can tell that's a hard word for me to pronounce. One side is going to have the phone itself and the other will have the handset. I have a cute little mouse holding the handset as he is answering a call, struggling with the size of the phone. Now we need the other side of that, which is a mouse holding a tiny cell phone, right? So I'm going to draw it inside this circle because he's going to be hiding inside the larger phone. I wanted to have the mouse kind of laying there, just chilling inside the phone, but I wasn't able to get that look quite right, so I tried it again, and this time I just have him sitting in casually, talking on his phone. Yeah, that was easier to draw, and sometimes I just don't feel like fighting it and I adjust my idea and draw something else. Okay, the drawings were done, so it was time to outline everything with my marker pens and erase the pencil behind them. Next step is to color, of course. I was excited about an extra opportunity to use alcohol markers. I really enjoy the coloring process. It's been wonderful to discover how much I love coloring as an adult, and even as a full-time artist, there's a different vibe to it. It's more relaxed and super pleasant. I've been going down the rabbit hole of coloring shorts lately, and I've been blown away with the talent and imagination some colorists have. The simplest pages made incredibly magical. Trying to bring some of that magic into my own drawing, I try to color the phone in a grading of purple shades. Maybe I could have taken it further with more details, but I think that color mixing alone took it to a more whimsical place. Just a little something. Then I colored my first mouse and spent a crazy amount of time coloring the background. That was the first part done, and then of course I had to color the mouse that's hiding in the phone. He got a little gradient too. Before gluing the spread in the book, I cut the space for the mouse to hiding. Sadly, I couldn't think of a better way to do this right then than a second flap for the video, but I still think it's cute that he's talking to his friend on the rotary phone and the other one's right in the phone with the tiny phone. Definitely this page was more about the concept and the illustration, which I think turned out super cute. Next prompt, and we have create an argument. I was trying to think of a common argument, or at least one I've had a lot of times. And finally, I got to the endless bargaining and bickering that I've had with my son about screen time. So here I am drawing a character on its bed with an iPad, and because my son's favorite animal is a wolf and we used to call him that when he was little, I'm drawing a little wolf on his bed. So I had my base drawing with the wolf covering his face because he's looking at the iPad, but as you can see, as I start polishing the drawing, I'm also drawing his face. And yep, he's asleep, and the reason he's asleep is because I used to have so many arguments with my kid about screen time, and a lot of the times when I came into the room to say, hey, it's time to turn it off, he was already asleep holding the thing. So that's my idea, which I finished drawing and outlined. I cut a window from the paper to leave space for the prompt to show, but as always I did that wrong. Anyhow, I thought it would be a good idea to use the piece of paper of that to draw the iPad on. So I put it on top of the drawing and traced the iPad, which is gonna be added later. Again, I'm using my alcohol markers to color the page, and I'm trying to play with them a little bit by creating the texture of the wood of the bed, and I'm also trying to mix a lot of different grays to create the fur for the wolf. I used a mix of cold and warm grays to try to get a nicer effect for him, trying to blend a little. And for his bedspread, I chose blue. My son's bedspread is blue, so I thought that would be a nice touch. Made the room a little dark because this is supposed to be nighttime, and then I painted the little paper that was supposed to be an iPad. I want the iPad to be able to slide in and out, so I'm cutting around the wolf's paw so I can do that. To protect the iPad and make it thicker, I wrapped it with packing tape. Then I just glued my spread into the book, and as you can see, I did totally miscalculate the space for the window I needed for the prompt. Oh well. I slide that iPad in, and it looks like the little wolf is still watching it. And then you have its mama calling from outside, yelling screen time, because she doesn't know yet that if she takes the iPad away, the kid is completely asleep. Next prompt, and this one I already did, and I think it was in my second episode of Create This Book, but now it seems like such a mess. I really wanted to improve it. I still like the concept, but if we're gonna flip through this book chronologically, it needs fixing. So I started by ripping everything out. I did try to carefully rip that off because I did paint directly on the book that time, and after I did, of course, there was some damage. I fixed it by just painting everything with more black acrylic paint, and I also took the little quote thing because it was just so plain, so boring. For a minute there, I thought because I had some paper stuck to the back, it would be a good idea to cut a slit and slide the flashlight in place there, but I didn't notice that the paper in the back didn't really cover all the page to the bottom, so that's not gonna work because you would see part of the flashlight from the other side. I made the page when I didn't have much direction and when I was choosing the prompts I wanted to do at random depending on my mood. But after I had already started, I got to meet my friend Ashley Monet, and I thought her logic made more sense. She said if you don't do it in order and you leave your least favorite prompts for last, then you'll make it harder on yourself to finish. So that's why we're doing it this way now. Okay, so as I said, the execution was not great, but I still like the idea of using the flashlight to slide in between the paper and plastic to better see the doodles. I painted both sides with black this time, and I also have a Sharpie to see if it worked better than the paint marker on the plastic. I mean, you can still see the doodles without the flashlight, but the paint won't scratch off with the Sharpie, and this is more about the idea for sure. My idea on how to redo this could be a disaster because I'm using this self-adhesive plastic pocket on the book. I have these from shipping my paintings. DHL gives them to me to put all the shipping papers in. Anyhow, I digress. It would be perfect because it's transparent and it's a pocket. To start, I just put my old page in there to trace some of the doodles I made originally. But because this is a finer point and this is version 2.0, I think I did a better job and was more careful with them. After I was done with the doodles, it was time to stick it into the book. No room for mistakes because it's like contact paper, like a giant sticker. But I did it slowly and it worked. It was actually a good fit. Again, you can see the doodles without the flashlight, but it's a cute concept. Cut the parts of the pocket that were sticking out from the book, and I had to close it with a piece of tape at the top. I noticed that because this new plastic had no frame around it, I needed to add more doodles to fill the page. Drew those, and now it was time to put the other side together. Since the slit I cut for the flashlight didn't work, I cut an extra triangle of black cardstock and glued two of its sides to the corner of the page to serve as a pocket for the flashlight. That left a nice little space for me to write the quote. I'm doing the same one because it makes sense with the page. I just made it prettier this time, first with pencil and then with the yellow marker on top. And that was it. If you ask me, it's such an improvement from the one I made first that, oh my God, I just checked. It's been over a year, 13 months. That's crazy. I still love it. It's a beautiful quote. When it's dark, look for stars, and then you can take the flashlight to find stars. Then we have a little wolf who fell asleep watching his iPad, and these two little mice friends talking on the phone. And finally, back to that golden gift that seems like the biggest dream ever. That's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed this video and that I will see you next Friday for a brand new one. Have the most wonderful day. Bye!